So I'm working through the questions in the workbook for paper 2 on programming. Well, I'm going to look at this now, Convert Algorithms 5 question. So what we've got here is a question that's fundamentally testing our ability to cope with a variable that stores more than one thing. So we've got a variable here called varieties. It's got several positions. Position 0 is a lobster, position 1 is a cuttlefish, position 2 is a crab, 3 is whelks, 4 scallops, 5 sea bass, 6 red mullet. And it's stored in this one-dimensional data structure. Now, at the start, it tells us that we need to set likes to an empty list. And you can see, just like before, we've got the global variables at the top and the main program below, and they've already given us this variable already that's there, but they're asking us to put in these extra variables. So likes to an empty list. Well, an empty list is always going to be quote, quote. Set total to 0. So that's going to make it an integer from now on in the program. And then it says set out string to quotes, an empty string, and then set layout to you like, and then swervy brackets varieties. Now there, you might think that's complicated. It's not. It's just layout equals you like a total of, and then the swervy brackets that are there in the middle, varieties. And that's literally all you're doing on those ones. So that first mark, even if this comes up as question 5 or later on, it's a very straightforward first mark. It's just interpret what's there. And then we've got to follow this flow chart through. So the first thing it goes to is a check that says, are all the varieties processed? Well, because it's clearly going round and round and round varieties there, you're stuck with a choice of a loop. You're either going to be using a for loop or a while loop. And in this case, I'd use a while loop. And so I'd say for fish in varieties. I'm assuming the fish, although clearly whelks and crabs aren't fish. So if you call it something other than fish, I wouldn't be beating yourself up. I think that's my failure in biology. So for fish in varieties. And then now it wants us to display response. Do you like variety get response? So there we want to say response equals input. Do you like? Now we want to add the fish in here. So plus fish. I was going to say varieties, but it doesn't need that. It's do you like lobster? Do you like cuttlefish? Do you like crab? Do you like whelks? Now, we then want that response to be in uppercase. So response equals response dot upper. I think you've got to capitalize the U. Oh, actually, maybe you don't. I need to check that one. Response is response dot upper. Yeah. So feel free to check that. Maybe I've got that one wrong on the capitalization of upper there. I don't think I have. Now, the next bit it says is it wants us to check, is the response equal to yes? And it's in a diamond shape. So this again is it's got to be a loop or it's got to be an if statement. In this case, it's obviously the if statement. So if response equals y. Now it's got to be uppercase because on the previous line you've made them all uppercase. So if it's not uppercase, it won't do it. And I've just put equals, and of course that should be equals. Is it the same as y? And if it is, what we should do is add the variety to likes. So there you just do likes dot append the fish. Yeah, add append just adds it to likes. So likes is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as it adds that up. And then total equals total plus 1. So we're adding, there's another fish we're like, there's another fish we're like, there's another fish we're like. So that's going to go round and round that little circle of the fish and do all of those different fish, checking, do you like each one? And if you do like them, it's going to add them to likes. And if you don't, it's going to ignore them. And it's going to go through the whole lot. Now, so then that takes us now to the arrow that goes to the other side, where it says set outstring to layout. So there you're going outstring, yeah, so equals, so is layout dot format. Now we're trying to throw something into that quotes. So what do we want to throw into that? String of total. Why not just total? Because total's a number, and it'll freak if you're telling it to just put a number in there when it's expecting a word. So you've got to convert the word into a string in order to do it. And then it says check that all the likes have been processed, and then in fact print the like each time round. So again, we'll do for C thing. Yeah, I felt guilty calling them fish when those obviously whelks and crab that aren't. So C thing, not very elegant, in likes. So for each of the C things in likes, outstring, if I could type rather than typing out strong, outstring equals outstring. So keep what was there before, plus a space. You could put a comma, but in the quotes, of course, so it appears in the thing, plus C thing. So there it'll add them all, and then last of all it wants to display the outstring. So print outstring. Now at that point you've got the whole thing running. I think we've worked through the whole piece. Does it ask us to add any quotes in or anything like that? It says no use. It says don't. So we don't have to go back and start putting some extra green comments in to explain our logic. It doesn't ask us to do that. At least if it does, I've missed that. So with that, I think you've got a finished working version of Convert Algorithms 5.